Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hollywood Matt Connolly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. This shirt is slightly too big. It is from Dean Bolt, one of the arm wrestlers that was featured on the Arm Gods card. His arms must be bigger than mine. But great to see him competing on the card. Arm Gods is what we will be talking about this evening, a review of the event. Arm Gods Wales, obviously taking place in Wales, and such a clever thing to do, to have a built-in rivalry. Immediately you get the patriotic side of things going, where the home crowd, everyone that was on the card was either from Wales or somewhere else. So you had your own hometown hero who got massive cheers whenever they came out, all the Wales guys. And whoever else came out got heavily booed, which is fantastic. It just goes to show you immediately that the crowd will be invested in an event when you've got a reason to care. And the reason to care in this case was they're from your country, your part of the world. They're representing you, so you better support them, get behind them, and you better boo their opponent, because that's the person trying to embarrass your country and your countrymen. A clever move, very well done, very well executed, and there's no crowd like the Arm Gods crowd anywhere in the world. These guys that come along, the fans, are as passionate an audience as you could have in any sport. It's tremendous to see, and the atmosphere was captured fantastically in that room. I know that I spoke to Marcus Thompson, one of the owners of Arm Gods, after the event, and he said that they had a last-minute venue change, I think the week leading up to it, which, as a promoter, that's the last thing you want, is for all of your plans to go out the window, and then all of a sudden you're trying to scramble in the hardest time when you're trying to organize everything else, and all the guys that are coming in on flights and all the rest of it, and weigh-ins and that sort of thing, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, you got to change venues as well. So, but the venue that they had it at looked amazing. It was tremendous. The room was, I think, the perfect size. And that's one of those things, is you don't want a huge expansive area where you've got, even if you've got a big crowd, they're not going to fill that massive area and it just feels like there's no one there. But you could do the opposite, where you may only have a small crowd, but if you put them in a small room, it feels like electric. And they had a very good crowd in for Arm Gods in Wales. This event was a sellout, and the size of the room was perfect. Like, if you see when they had lots of shots of the crowd, because people were really getting into it, and I think it was fantastic. Everyone that was there was invested in what was going on. I think that was the biggest takeaway. There was no one sort of sitting back looking on their phone. There was no groups of people talking amongst themselves. Everyone was like, yes, cheering, standing. It was amazing to see that the people cared so much about arm wrestling, and credit to Arm Gods for creating that atmosphere. And Paul Maiden, who the other owner of Arm Gods, was up the front doing the introductions for the I was going to say the fighters, but the competitors when they come out, and he's dancing in between rounds and stuff. I don't know. It was a very entertaining show. I think they did a tremendous job overall. On stream, the venue looked great. The table was lit really well. I liked the camera positioning. One thing that I really think was fantastic was that they had an instant replay, like seconds after the round would finish. There would be the round would finish, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and then, hey, here's a replay of the last 10 seconds to see exactly what happened in slow motion. It was fantastic. It was because if a pin happened really fast and you're like, oh, I didn't even see what happened then, you got to see a fantastic slow motion replay straight away. And it really helped iron out anything that went wrong in terms of fouls or any questionable calls. You're seeing it straight away, and it was tremendous. Whoever did that, I kudos to you, because that was a fantastic move. As a viewer, it really enhanced the experience. The stream quality was good. Only had one moment of dropout, which was slightly amusing. because the guys were lined up, they're about to get started, and then it sort of flashed, the screen went black for half a second. When it's come back, one of the guys is standing there with the trophy being interviewed, and it was like, oh, well, I guess he won. Like, so I don't know what happened then, but these things happen with the internet. It's never bloody reliable. But apart from that, I mean, everything was smooth. It was fast. It was high definition. And again, it's another tick in the box, because you've got to be so conscious of your audience that is watching it through a stream, and also be conscious of your audience that's there in person. And I think that they ticked both boxes there. They had such a dynamic atmosphere going in the room, and it really translated well across to the audience watching at home. You felt like you were there. Like it was loud, it was noisy, the commentators were into it. They were not PC at all, which is awesome. It was just saying whatever they wanted to say, and Paul Maiden would walk up and grab the commentator's mic and say something funny, and there was moments throughout the event that just made it feel very unique. And it was like, this is Armed Gods, this is what they do, that this is their thing, and they're not worried about trying to appeal to it's like, hey, we're looking for the mass audience. It's like, the audience will find us because we're doing exactly what we want to do, and we're having such a tremendous time doing it. And it'll just be a matter of time, like word of mouth. You go, oh, did you see that Armed Gods thing? Oh, my mate's going to this arm wrestling thing. You got to come along. And I think that's part of the reason as to why they get such a great crowd in, is that everyone who's been to a show will be fans for life, and they'll drag every member of their family and force them to come along with them. Which is just tremendous. It just shows you that they're doing the right things in terms of growing this sport and growing their company and growing this promotion. In terms of the matches, the matches were very, very evenly contested. There was sort of the counter that was going on throughout the event, like Wales versus, I don't know if it was Wales versus England, but it was like Wales versus everyone else, because we had a few Irish guys in there, and I think that I can't remember who actually came out on top, but the last count that I saw, I think it was 5-5, and so it was really close back and forth, which was great because the crowd was really getting invested in it, and it was like, hey, come on guys, this guy's one of your countrymen from Wales here, and you guys are down 3-5, blah, 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 and everyone boo, oh come on, we're gonna get, and then when they would win, it'd be the celebratory, because now it's 4-5 and all the rest of it. So I don't know who actually came out on top. I should find that out. But in terms of matches, that there was so many quality guys on this card, and there was some names that I wasn't familiar with, which is always a good thing from my perspective, because I get to learn about these new people, and sometimes somebody will really stand out, and you're like, oh man, never heard of this guy before, and now I'm a massive fan. And one of those actually that I became a big fan of was the Oni Jackson and Hassim Al Hakim match, and one of the best matches I've seen, and it's especially one of the rounds. Oni Jackson only being 18 years old, but it's an absolute war when both guys are stuck in the middle and they have to take a rest and take a breath, which happened several times. They were fighting so hard, and Hassim would sort of get a dominant position, but he just couldn't get through, and he'd be pushing, and then it would be like, all right, I have to wait for a couple of seconds here, I gotta recover, and you can see Oni doing the same thing. He was like, oh my god, I've been holding like with everything I got. He's backed off a little bit, I've got to recover, and that happened several times each round. And so one of the best matches. I hope that they put out each match individually as well, and if they do, go and check that out. Oni Jackson and Hassim Al Hakim, and what a tremendous match that was. One of the other ones that I wanted to highlight, actually we saw Murray Whitehead get a very good victory over Lloyd Herpiker. Murray being one of the guys I met over in Ireland when they had the Armed Gods Valhalla event. Lovely guy, softly spoken gentleman, and he was very dominant in his performance at Armed Gods Wales. Also had Nick Dodd, which I don't know if he likes this nickname or if he's just had to go along with it, the Midget Missile. There was some funny nicknames on this card, which was fantastic. I think every single person had a nickname, And most of them were, I don't think they would have been nicknames they would have chosen. Which is just tremendous. You want that when you're going in. And it's part of the fun and part of the appeal of that, that UK humour is that if they're insulting you, it means they like you. if they're being really nice and polite, they don't like you at all. But if they're willing to stand, like if two guys from the UK catch up with each other, and the first 10 minutes will be just insults. It'll be insults, and then after that, all right, actually, how are you really? So having the funny nicknames was a highlight there. Nick Dodd getting up with a great win over Ryan Barber there. Ryan Barber. There's another one. I don't think he would have chosen that. If he did. Okay. Yes, but the one that I was really looking forward to, Dean Bolt and James Stewart, both giant men. James Stewart, I think he's 6'8" and like 150 kilos or something, 165 kilos. He's an absolute monster. In pounds, it's like 350 pounds or something. Absolute giant man. And Dean Bolt is no slouch coming in behind him. And I think he's like about 130 kilos or something, which is... I should do these calculations before I click the button, but what is that, like 300? I don't know. Both giant guys anyway. And it was a left-handed match. James Stewart was able to get the win, a dominant victory. He was just too strong. What can you do when your opponent is just, able to just get whatever position they want, just roll through you, and you can't really do anything about it. It's like, well, he's just too strong. Literally, there isn't an option here for me to do anything, and I think that was the result for Dean Bolt there. He was just not able to get anything going. Too strong for James Stewart. A massive man. Hope he gets some big opportunities from his victory there. It was for the Commonwealth belt on the left arm, so he is now the title holder for that. Josh Davies also did a fantastic match. The mini tank, I always love that nickname there. And Andrew Johns and Mantis Duakas had a 115 kilo right arm match for the belt. I don't know if it was Commonwealth belt, but it was for a belt, and that was a solid match as well. Interestingly, it felt to me like Andrew's pronation was really strong, but he at no point did he get sort of turned palm up, but it felt like he just lost the center every single round at the start, and then he was forced into defense, and it was like a slow death. Like he would slowly get brought down, never losing that pronation, but never able to sort of get a cup, or never able to, move that positioning. It was just, he was so strong in that, like his riser and everything is really strong, you could tell, but he was just unable to prevent Mantis from getting the center and getting the victory. So well done to both men there. It was a good match, very entertaining. One of the other things I wanted to bring up was that concurrently the East versus West 13 event ran at the same time, which is a bit of a frustration as a fan. When you've got two events running simultaneously, obviously it's going to split the audience, and it's going to harm both promotions, because if half the people want to see this one a little bit more and half the people want to see that one a little bit more, and it just doesn't work well for the sport. I think it's not a good move. Obviously, you would hope that it wasn't done deliberately, and schedules are schedules, and there's only so many weekends in the year. But yeah, it's not fun to have a clashing event. I thought because of the time difference that they might have actually not run over the top of each other, but they pretty much started around the same time. I think there was around a 2-hour difference. Armed Gold started first, and then 2 hours later, East versus West kicked off, and I could see the drop-off in numbers of the audience. Even on my live stream, people just disappeared. Like, they just went. As soon as the East versus West card started, they were gone. I was like, oh, well, that's disappointing. I was trying to watch both at the same time, and it was just, it was just frustrating. 16 matches on the, which one? On 15 on East versus West, 16 for Armed Gods Wales. So But Armed Gods Wales is what we're here to discuss, and I was very, very pleased as a fan. It's one of the things that I really want to highlight here is these guys are putting everything out there at a level where they're putting in so much heart and soul into this, and it's so easily available. It's £5 a month, whatever that converts to. For me, in Australian dollars, I think it's about, I don't know, $8 or something like that. $8 a month for me, but £5 a month. And that gets you everything on their site, all of their content, like absolutely everything, all of their previous pay-per-views, all their training seminars, and it's just unbelievable the value that these guys are giving away for such a low price. And, you know, I'm a big supporter of these guys. I want them to do big things, and they are putting on big events and big shows. I know they're going to be part of the Winter Blast event that will be taking place in North America coming up later in the year. So that in itself, Winter Blast by itself, is a massive event, and then having Armed Gods there as well, that's going to be one of the biggest. It might be the biggest show in the US for this year. And so if you are in the US and you're a fan or you're interested in Armed Gods, go and check it out. You won't be disappointed. You'll have a fantastic time if you remember what happens, because that culture, you may have a tremendous time and then have to look at the photos the next day and go, oh yeah, I sort of remember doing that. Any critical feedback that I had, the only things I would say, there was two things that sort of stuck out to me. One is the referee, James Beach, was fantastic. I think he did a great job. But he was by himself. He was the head ref, and there was no down ref, which was a little surprising. It didn't seem to make any difference, though. I mean, the good thing was that the matches flowed really well. They flowed quickly, and there wasn't like an amazing amount of foul calls or anything like that. The ones that were called were egregious. Like, they were like, okay, you lifted your elbow up this much. Yeah, we're calling that. But obviously, when you've got one referee, it's bloody hard, and I know this from experience from refereeing club matches every week. You can't look at everything at once, and if somebody's lifting their elbow on this side and you're looking there, you're going to miss it, you know. Whereas if you've got two people, ideally you've got more coverage. You've got a little bit of backup for the head ref as well in terms of anybody having issues. But it seemed to run smoothly. Like, there was no dramas in terms of people having big problems with the way that they were set up, and I think it was done very, very well. So kudos to James Beach there. The other thing was the camera. I think it's probably due to the fact that they changed the venue at the last minute, but there was just constantly people walking in front of the main camera, just at random times. My screen just went blue. I don't know if it will on the recording, but all of a sudden I was a Smurf. Anyway, but which was distracting. It was, and it looked a little bit. I don't like that. I think that, yeah, maybe put some ropes or something to prevent people from getting through. It's more than likely because of the last minute venue change. But yeah, when you're about to watch, or you're in the middle of a match and somebody just sort of casually strolls past the camera, it's like, get out of the way, what is this? So yeah, but apart from that, I think they get an A+. Actually, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was James Wall and the phenomenal speed that man has in his starts. And the weirdest thing for me is that he's like flash hooking people, which is, I don't think I've really seen that happen before. Like, most of the times, if people are going to flash pin, it's going to be a press or a really fast top roll. I don't think I've ever seen somebody get that speed that he gets on a hook, because, it's almost like two movements. You've got to get that supination, and then you can start your movement. But man, he was just lightning fast with that hook, and you could tell the opponent was just the opponent was incredibly strong. I'm just going to look up who it was, because Greg Foster. You could see Greg Foster was a powerful, strong man, but at that start, he was getting blown out the water for that first third, and he was sort of getting caught around here before he could engage. That's how fast James Wall's start was, and when you've only got this much to go, what can you do if you're Greg Foster? But kudos to James Wall there. That was a very unique skill. And as I said before, I don't think I've seen anybody be as fast in a hook as what James Wall was in that match. So well done to him, and well done to Arm Gods, Marcus Thompson, and Paul Maiden. A+ for you. Great job. Can't wait for the next one. Winter Blast is going to be massive. All right, one last double biceps. Just roll the sleeves up again. Dean, your arms are too big for me. All right, thank you guys.